Hello, I'm Daniela. In today's video, I'm going to start to wrap up this crazy quilt block. I'm going to add another layer of trim, adding some pearls and some other things to really make the design more elaborate, more detailed. It's starting to really come alive, and so this is the point where I want to add my final touches, but not overdo it. So let's get started. So now I want to go back and reassess if I want to add additional trim. I have this velvet piece here which I'm going to add. I will stitch it down with a couching stitch just to hold it in place, but I like the way that cuts up the piece. I have additional trim here and little elements, and I could see what I want to do with them. I originally thought maybe of using this piece in here, but I think it's just a heavy element that I don't want to use, so I'll set that aside. I also have this very pretty flower and this gorgeous butterfly lace, and I kind of entertain the thought of putting maybe a butterfly there. I'll trim this up and see, because I do think that's a very pretty effect. It pulls the white from there, and so I'm contemplating that. I also have this piece. Now it's a little big, kind of like it there too, so I think I can take this apart. It seems to be glued together, maybe stitched as well. Oh, there we go. So it popped apart. So there's that piece, and that with the little flowers on it, which I can leave, is very pretty, very feminine. And then there's that larger piece, but I think that's just too large. I can cut it and maybe just use half. But right now it's between the butterfly for me and this little pretty floral piece. I think I'm going to stick with this little flower piece because I do like the way the colors are pulled from there. And it's a little lighter than that other piece that I was adding. So that's another thing I'm going to add, and I'll just tack that down right around the edges. I have some buttons here. And I just love those colors. I'm not really sure what I want to do or if I want to use them, but I like the way it pulls the color from over there. Yeah, I definitely like the smaller, darker buttons. So that's a possibility. Or I could put it here. No, I don't really like that. I like it with the contrast. Actually, I really like it over here. So I'll consider using those buttons there. Maybe just another line of them. And I have some of this beautiful pearl. And I think it looks really nice like that. It's a nice line. It also adds another element of the white. Now typically I put the white on this side just to balance out the three really vibrant whites. Although if I use it as a trim on this side, I think it works out. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll just use a couching stitch to hold it down in between each of the pearls. So right now I have one strand of this embroidery floss in this very light purple, and I'm going to stitch down around the couching stitch with that single strand to hold this in place. I'm going to take my scissors and just cut the end right here and start couching it all the way across. I'll make just very big loops. And just tack it down neatly every so often. Then I'll come in and stitch this down with white thread just around the edge, and the same thing with the pearls. Then I'll come back and assess what I want to do with the buttons. I'm still on the fence with them. So I've attached the pieces. Here I used a couching stitch, and I made a little pattern, stitching it every so often because the stitches really showed up against the velvet. I attached the pearl strand and the little lace flower, and I really like the way that it's coming out. Now this is the beauty of the crazy quilt block, is you can take it as far as you want. More embellishments are great. You just decide your style and your level. I just think it's coming out so well. I want to incorporate some stitches, some standalone stitches inside some of these blank pieces here, and maybe work on this trim a little bit. So before I do that, I want to take my iron and just press out any of the marker that remains, and that gives me a little bit better view of what I'm working with here in my piece. So I'll just press out any of the areas that have the ink. And now I can see the block a little bit better. From here I can decide if I want to add more of the trim, the buttons. I'm happy with the pearls. I did like the way pearls looked across there, but I don't want to add another layer of pearls. I don't want to distract from everything happening here. So now I'm just going to let it sit, marinate in my mind a little bit, and in the next video we'll work on some freestanding stitches and finishing up embellishing our quilt block. So that's how I added additional trim to the quilt block. It adds additional color and certainly more texture. It's really starting to come together. I can't believe we're almost done with this block. It's a very long procedure, but I really love the results. If you'd like to see behind the scenes footage from the second quilt block that I'm working in parallel to this, please consider becoming a paid member. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for joining me today.